Tarboro's communication system, Chief Williams and Sergeant Webb will come up and deliver their presentation.
Good afternoon, members of council and members of the department staff and citizens. This afternoon, we're going to talk a little bit about our infrastructure and radio communications. I'm going to defer the first half of the presentation to Sergeant Jesse Williams, who is over our PSAP, which is our primary 911 center, and also Lieutenant Keith Hale, who is our investigation lieutenant and also oversees the administration division within the police department. I will tell you that I want citizens to know primarily that the police department is not in trouble. We're not in dire straits here. We can communicate. Do we have an agent system? Yes, we do. Does that agent system put our officers in danger on a daily basis? No, it does not. It is up and running and it's holding us together. Does it need to be replaced? Of course, everything with age needs to be replaced, but we are laying the groundwork now to replace our system. But our system is not in dire straits as it has been portrayed in the way. What we're doing is we're laying the groundwork now so that we can properly prepare and utilize and institute a new system. So Sergeant Webb's going to give a presentation on our current infrastructure. Then it will E911 and our radio communication systems are two separate systems. So we're going to break them down as such, okay? Sergeant Webb.
Good evening. I will try to be as short-winded as possible. What we were asked to do was provide an overview and status update of our various communication systems. We opted to look at the overall town's infrastructure, the E911 system, the current pending projects we have, and of course the radio system. I'm going to breeze through some of these slides just for time's sake, so if you have any questions, shoot them out. Regarding the town's infrastructure, when we talk about the town's infrastructure, we're focusing on the IT side to begin with. In collaboration with the finance manager, back in June, we began a three-phase upgrade to the town's overall infrastructure. The first phase is going to be to update all the virtual servers that we already have. The two primary ones that we're focused on is the domain controller and the exchange server. Naturally, you can understand the intricacies of both of those servers because the domain controller actually controls all of our user accounts for every town employee. Microsoft Exchange, of course, is a given that controls all our emails, so you can kind of understand how much work had to go into that part. That phase is currently completed. The second phase is also completed. That was the installation of the SAN unit. The SAN unit actually took the place or was divided up from what we call the ESX host and divided into the ESX host and a SAN. The SAN is our storage, so all of our files and data is stored on that SAN. That phase is currently completed as well.
When was that done, completed? When was that completed?
The SAN phase was completed about 2 months ago. The third phase, which is in progress now, is the actual replacement of that ESX host. We added an additional objective to that, which was our NAS devices. The NAS devices are serving as our disaster recovery. And I'll get into that a little bit later. There's another aspect to that. That phase is currently in progress, and it hasn't, the tangible work has not begun yet. The equipment is being acquired. However, that equipment is in place, it's just simply being replaced. This is a quick overview of some of our infrastructure. This was coming from an audit that we did with the SBI back in June for our DCI purposes. You can see all the ones on the right are all going to be directly related to the E911 center, those servers. There's another server over here that we use for video. Some of these have been removed and combined with other servers, so we don't have quite as many servers. Another depiction is going to be our overall peripheral devices. All of it comes back right to that ESX host right there. That's going to be, I guess, the brain or the hub of all of our servers. This is actually just a photo of what we're talking about. The top piece is that SAN up top. That's what was just completely new installed. The ESX host is right beneath it. That's what's on the platter to be replaced. In regards to the E911 center, we also completed an upgrade of that back in February. Now that was a complete upgrade. That was using 911 surcharges, not budgetary funds. That include upgrades to the servers, all the workstations, replace all the vital hardware and software for the 911 Communication Center, included new mapping technology, which added additional layers of mapping to our system, included a new 36-month maintenance agreement, and also it made us now compliant with next generation 911, which is still kind of coming on the horizon. We're not really prepared for that yet because there's not a need for it. That's going to be something where you have multiple PSAPs or 911 centers serving as backup centers for each other. So we could actually be serving as a backup center for somebody in Buncombe County. That's the direction that it's taking. We've also implemented Texas 911. Again, there was no cost to the town on that. That was something free of charge. All four of the major carriers, Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, and US Cellular, are now on board with that. So now all of our citizens who have cell phone service are able to text to our PSAP and receive 911 service. The last company was actually just implemented last week. It takes a process and they're responsible for that, but the process that originally began about 6 months ago, but it's now completed. This is actually a user interface of our 911 system. So when you look at, or 911 call comes in, this is what the dispatchers are looking at. The right side is actually our TTY communications. That's where our texting to 911 comes into play at. This was a new user interface as well. You'll see that here in another photo. This is going to actually be the primary components that was replaced during the E911 upgrade. These are going to be all the servers, all the switches, all the routers that were replaced. And again, that was not coming from any kind of town budget. This is actually going to be a depiction of what the dispatchers are looking at. Over to your left is going to be the actual 911 console that was replaced. The top right display is going to be that new mapping system that we refer to that offers the additional new multiple layers. Over to your left on the top is going to be the user interface for our radio system. And the two bottom monitors are going to be two monitors that are used for other applications such as our records management system or computer-aided dispatch and those kind of things. Just to name a few. Now, as an extension of our actual physical E911 center, the town has in place what we call mobile dispatch as well. So each one of our patrol vehicles were equipped with mobile data terminals. On those terminals, you have this software called Vision Mobile. Vision Mobile is a dispatch center in itself, so operators who respond to calls for service straight through their terminal, they can dispatch themselves to calls, they receive that information. I've got a picture I'll show you. But that has been upgraded within the past 6 months to the latest version as well. So now all the cars on the road have the latest version of this mapping or this particular software. This is a depiction of what the officers are viewing in their patrol vehicles. This is just one screenshot of the multiple interfaces that are capable on this system. If you look over to the right, you'll see dispatch, query, message center, the mapping. The message center is actually an application where they can communicate between themselves, they can communicate with the E911 center. The query, of course, is where they obtain sensitive data through the terminal. The mapping system also updated that while I was updating this particular application. So now they have different views where they can instantaneously see where they're going in different areas of the town. And then, of course, there's more to it than that. As an extension of the Vision Mobile, naturally it takes mobile data terminals to use that application. So we, in the process of the past 12 to 6 months, we've been replacing those mobile data terminals consistently. Over half of those terminals have been replaced in that time period. We've gone to a newer version, one that's kind of consistent with industry standards. And we've specifically looked at the specifications for these that has increased memory, it has a different disk storage, so it all offers the officers a little bit more efficiency for those mobile data terminals. That means they can contain or pull up multiple applications all at the same time without having to minimize or anything like that. All of our telecommunicators are now certified through the North Carolina Sheriff's Office Training Standards Commission. They had to initially go through training, of course, and then there was a lengthy process to get them certified through the Sheriff's training. The only reason we opted to go through the Sheriff's training was because they do not have such through the North Carolina Justice System.
When did that take place?
That took place, actually started in somewhere around mid-2014 when the training took place. I just received final confirmation on my last dispatcher that she received her general certification last month. So it's, like I said, that was a very lengthy process to obtain the general certification. We're also obligated by statute to institute a backup system for our E911 system. Right now, what we have in place is what we call a night switch. For whatever reason, if our communication center goes down, we have an actual physical switch that the dispatchers can flip, and all 911 calls are rerouted directly to the Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office. Yes, ma'am.
Is that what happened the night of the shooting?
No, ma'am. That'll be related to the radio system. This is strictly like telephone communications. But all that traffic is going to be routed to the Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office. If for whatever reason that switch fails, we have a redundant plan where we can call what we call the knock center, and they can do it physically from their location. So that's all possible. So far as the backup itself, we are in direct communications with the Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office. We're looking to serve as each other's backup facilities. Those negotiations have already started. Town officials, Mr. Thornton, the county manager, the chief sheriff, everyone is involved and at the table on that. The plan is actually in place. The only thing we're waiting on is data from CenturyLink to actually put in the dollar amounts. Again, the majority, if not all of this, will be funded from 911, so that will not be cost incurred by the town.
The night switch what is that?
The night switch is just a small little device that we're able to switch, and the 911 calls themselves are rerouted to the county. That's paid for by 911 funds as well. Remote services, we've also installed the ability to repair things remotely. So what's happening is I designed a computer where, regardless of where I'm at, I'm able to tap into the town's mainframe and the domain and make any repairs that are needed. So if I'm out of town on training or whatever else, if something goes down, I can immediately get in. If I'm not able to fix it, then of course our vendor can get in from there. Pending projects, we're looking at an AMS server. That's in essence, that's going to be something where we're organizing our Microsoft Office licensing. Right now, we just kind of realized that they're a little afraid, so we want to pull all those together. It's our understanding that the infrastructure for this is already in place. It's just a matter of coordinating with our IT vendor to get the necessary keys to where they need to be. We're also looking at cloud disaster recovery, and that's what I was referring to earlier about those NAS devices. The NAS devices can be considered like a big external drive. That's what we have in place right now for our disaster recovery. One is located at the police department, the other is located at the fire department. That way, if we have a catastrophic failure at the police department, we still have the data saved at the fire department. In lieu of that, the only downfall to that is if we have a catastrophic failure, then we will have to acquire the equipment. We have the data saved, but we still would be down until we acquire the equipment to get back up in operation. The cloud disaster recovery would eliminate that. That would be something where we would be down for a maximum of 2 to 3 hours, and then virtual servers would kick us back up and we'd be back operational without any downtime. That is something that we're already discussing with our IT vendor, and more information can come out on that in the future. The police department, since we're discussing communications, we're always looking for ways to communicate with the public. So we've installed the infrastructure for communicating digitally throughout our lobby to the public who comes in and seeking different information. That is in place. The infrastructure is not the final version. There's a few more peripheral devices to purchase, but that's coming. Our video storage, given the nature and climate of law enforcement right now, naturally, video is going to be a big topic. We already have the body cameras in place. We're working towards going back to in-car cameras as well. There's a cycle for all that. That data has to be stored. That's where the original SAN that I was discussing comes back into play. That has sufficient disk space for us to be able to do this now. I've already got the system for the body cameras network. We just have to kind of bring it back around to the SAN and introduce a little bit more permanent camera. That's just a quick depiction of how it's going to go. Your in-car video camera is transferred wirelessly to access points, which I've already installed, Then it's dumped to the server and saved and controlled by other workstations. Before I pass it off to Lieutenant Hale for the radio, are there any questions about anything that I just offered? I know I rushed through it, and I apologize for that.
I like it where you kept saying upgrade, already been upgraded, that's what I can't remember.
Are there any questions?
No more information.
And I'm sure what you gave us is in this document, and so maybe we will have questions at the next meeting.
That's a lot more detailed than what was on the screen.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. Piggybacking off what Sergeant Webb has presented to you, and kind of let you know what he presented and why I'm getting ready to present how it goes hand in hand is the PSAP center is where the phone call or call for service originates, and then after that call is taken, it is then transmitted by radio to the proper department for the call for service. The majority of the stuff in the PSAP center is paid for by money from the E911 fund that gives us the money to pay our recurring costs, phone bills, and the equipment that we need in order to operate inside that system there. And a little background on the mobile data terminals that we have. The vast majority of those have been paid for by grants that were written through the Governor's Crime Commission, so the town has incurred little cost when it comes to the mobile data systems that we have.
When were those grants?
Grants have been written all along, since I've been writing grants since 2003, and we've been,
Typically, it's
and they're good at awarding money for us to buy equipment with, and we try to offset the cost of the town by using that to buy equipment needs that we have.
So it's been ongoing.
Yes, sir. A little bit of history about the radio system that we have now. The town of Tarboro purchased this radio system in the early 1990s. At the time of the purchase, Tarboro was the first municipality to purchase an 800 megahertz digital trunking radio system in the state of North Carolina. Unfortunately, during the flood of 1999, as a result of Hurricane Floyd, we had to replace everything at the tower site with the exception of the radio tower. When we had done this, we raised the equipment room approximately 15 feet off the ground and replaced the damaged equipment that was submerged in the water. In 2012, approaching the end of support for our radio system, we were able to, the 911 fund allowed us to use some money to spend down our fund balance. They wanted all the municipalities that had a PSAP to put their fund balance at 20%. So they opened up the gates on some of this money and let us spend it for other equipment needs other than just the 911 center. We were able to purchase a firmware upgrade for this radio system that involves a little bit more time and support for making arrangements to purchase a new radio system. Components of the radio system. We had a console. The console is located in the dispatch, where the dispatchers work at. There's a trunk controller, which is out at the radio site, a high band fire repeater, which is out at the radio site and inside the dispatch. There are 5 trunk repeaters out at the radio site. There are talk groups that the main controller assigns when somebody gets ready to talk on the radio. And the T1 line. The T1 line runs in between the police department and the tower and provides the connectivity between the two. And it is maintained by CenturyLink. In reference to the infrastructure, the Tarboro radio system consists of a 2-position console. So we got 2 positions inside our dispatch that can be used for talking on the radio, which is connected to the trunk controller at the tower site by a T1 line, which is maintained by CenturyLink for connectivity between the 2 sites. There's a trunk controller at the tower site. This is the main controller. There's 1 high band fire transmitter and a 5-channel 800 megahertz trunk repeater. The console can select any one of a combination of channels for talk groups to talk to. Talk groups should be considered just like another radio channel. But you must remember that this system only has 4 transmitters which can be used for voice. The first one is to control, and the other 4 for the voice traffic that comes across. So if you have 4 people talking on the radio at the same time from other departments in the day, if a 5th person keys up and tries to talk, they're going to get a busy signal into one of those channels for free.
How often does that happen?
Very rarely and when it's all up running, for 4 of them to be tied up.
So that's a
Yeah, there are times when we have major power outages and stuff like that, that you can get a busy signal, but for basic day-to-day operations is, it suffices our needs, To better explain trunking a little bit, trunking is a system developed to best use on a limited number of radio frequencies. One radio frequency is used as a control channel, and 4 other radio channels and frequencies are used for voice. Each time a user talks, that control channel picks whichever other channel is not being used to let that person talk. When the user stops talking and starts again, the control may switch that user to a different one. The next time they talk, whichever channel is free. So if you have a scanner and you place it on this one of our radio frequencies to listen to what we were saying, you would only get broken parts of that communication due to the fact that it may go to another frequency the next time you talk on it. So you may get the police department the first time on that channel, and then the next time you may hear something from the electric department or the fire department. So you wouldn't get the whole conversation because it just assigns you whichever one is free.
Part of the understanding I have, and I'm not saying it's an issue, I'm only saying, is it partly an issue with the situation that might have even happened, but as far as the use of this system, we have the police department, the fire department, and the
Every department we got is on this radio.
And would we be, in your opinion, more effective, more efficient if we just had on this particular system, the police department and fire department?
No, sir.
Okay.
I think it would suffice to have the whole town on that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Reference to the radio system failures that we have, when we first purchased the radio system, no doubt it was the best that they made at the time. The biggest issues that we've had over the years since we've had it is the connectivity with the T1 line. And the T1 line actually has nothing to do with the radio system itself. It just provides the connectivity between the police department and the tower site. When those issues happen with the T1 line, we have to call CenturyLink and they come in and fix it, but we're never down for a long period of time. It doesn't take long for them to get it back up and working. And in the effect, when that happens, it only knocks the console off that the dispatcher is using, so they're able to take a portable radio that's in the dispatch and talk to the officers on the radio. It's only stopped the communication between the console and the tower site, not the portable. Okay? Other issues that we've had over the years is just due to Mother Nature. We've had lightning strikes and hit the tower out there and fry the equipment, but fortunately the radio maintenance person that we use, Amerizon now, he's here in town. He's just down Main Street about a mile or so, and he's always quick to come out and respond and fix these issues when we have them. I have never not called him that he didn't respond promptly and get our system back up and running. Let's see. The thing we're running into now is that the system is out of support for Motorola because it's at the end of life. So in other words, Motorola doesn't produce any more parts for this radio system that we have. The city of Rocky Mount has the identical system that we have, and they are in the process of replacing their system at this time. And I've been in talks with the gentleman that's in charge of their radio system, and what they're going to do with their old one is they're going to place it in storage when the new one is up and running. And he's told me that if we need any parts, and get you to hold that slide right there, isn't it? If we can get any parts that we may need that they have, of course we'll have to pay for them, but there's some parts available from their system if we need it to repair ours.
During the meantime, before they get their new system up, what are we gonna do for parks in the meantime?
Well, there's other municipalities around the state that have had the same radio system. So the gentleman that does our maintenance, he knows where they're at. Matter of fact, back in the summer, we had a lightning strike at the police department that fried a board in one of the servers, and he found the part down in Fayetteville to fix it. So he has resources that he can reach out to also to try to find the parts that we need to repair.
How much of a delay is that in getting that system repaired?
Well, we had to go with that server.
You have another lightning strike and it fries.
Right. Well, that particular incident there, only one console was down because it was only affected one, so we had the other one that was up and working, and it was down for about a day or so. He had to turn around and get the part, get it back here and back up in a day.
But there is no guarantee that part is out.
Now,
We
the
have to
guarantee,
find that part
Right.
when it breaks down.
until Rocky Mount finishes theirs.
Let me ask you this, how long has that, system been out there? Since they stopped making?
At the end of the firmware, when the support run out at the end of the firmware, when we bought that in 2012, it bought us extra time on the support.
December of 2015.
That's when we, yes, when we discussed it, yes, and it was actually put in place in,
2012.
2012, because I think we ended up being invoiced on somewhere around July 2012 after they completed the work.
Okay, so not understand, like 2012, they quit making the parts for this particular system?
They didn't quit making it then, we did a firmware upgrade to buy us extra support, because we upgraded what we had at the time, but there is no other upgrades out there, it's just at the end of life.
But when that software was bought, we knew right then that we were gonna have radio problems.
We knew that we had a certain amount of
Outdated
time.
system that we couldn't fix if we needed to.
Well, we knew we had a certain amount of time before the support would run out.
But now, we're in a position that if other people had to take a step and get a new system, and Rocky Mount wasn't good enough to let us get parts, we'd be basically out of radio.
If it failed, yes. Let's see. To address what happened on February the 16th this year when this is, matter of fact, this is a shot of the tower, the equipment room at the tower that is elevated. The big cabinet is the trunk controller, and the four smaller ones there to the left a little bit are the repeaters. Okay.
What I heard you saying was that Rock Mountain was making it more convenient for us to get the parts. So those parts are already what existed in other cities as well. It may be
Some.
more difficult.
Some cities, some municipalities.
Yeah, some cities, but
Right.
Rock Mountain actually make it more convenient and available for us to kind of handle.
Right, due to the fact that our systems are identical.
Right. Yeah.
How long before Rocky Mountain system, new system's up?
They're in the process now of installing all that stuff. I don't know what the timeline is on that, but it'll be soon.
And technically, they wouldn't give theirs up until their system's up.
Oh, yeah, because they're still operating off their old right now. Yeah.
But that serves the purpose, they're having the same issue we're having. We're all in the same boat here. Anybody who is not upgrading to the new system, is in the same situation. So they're just slightly ahead of us with proposing the upgrade because of the expense, of course, but, we're already proposing the same plan to the council at this point.
Let me ask you one more. If we do get a new system, which we won't have to, this old system that we have, is it any use to us anymore? I mean, can it be a backup?
Well, what would happen with what we have in place is this equipment here, like the main control and the truck controls would have to be replaced. The console that the police department would have to be replaced. The improvement in this is, and had this after I finished this here, but since you asked the question, I got an answer. With P25 capability, which is interoperability, so we can talk to other agencies in case something like a Ford happened again, and we had people come in here to assist us. The good thing about putting in the new system is we would be able to eliminate the T1 line that's maintained by CenturyLink because we now have fiber out at the radio tower site. So we would use our fiber as a connectivity between the two entities, the police department and the tower site, and that would be less likely to have those issues that we've had with the T1 line over the past.
Lieutenant,
Yes, sir.
how are we not backed up by the Viper system?
I was headed there. The failure that we had on February the 16th was multiple failures in the other three trunks that were working. And he was able to use the one trunk that was down and pull parts from that and repair the other three. They're all up working fine today, just like they were before this incident. In 2008, the Highway Patrol came to the town of Tarboro and wanted some available tower space that we had out of our tower site to install their Viper network. And their Viper network is statewide, and it allows for statewide connectivity. And in exchange for us giving them that tower space, they gave us 3 talk groups. There's one for police, there's one for fire, and then there's an event channel that we have the electric department radio programs so that they can talk on. So in the event that something like this happens again, the protocol that we put in place with our portables was to switch over to the Viper system and be able to communicate with one another via the Viper system The only thing that we lose is the ability to call out the volunteers because we don't have that connectivity between the console and the power socket. But the Viking system is there for us, and that's the protocol that we'll use in the future until we're able to remedy the issue of replacing this radio system that we have.
So the Viking system is used today to shoot him?
No, it was not. We were in the process of getting it done because we realized we weren't expecting all that to go down. We never had that happen. But we did get some radios up on Viking, so we were able to talk. And about the time we got that in place, he was able to bring the whole system back online, so we just switched back to what we had. Right.
Okay, that's fine.
The system was only down for a short period of time, contrary to popular belief. It wasn't down very long. And while this was all going on, you have the dispatcher still dealing with 911 calls coming in. So there are multiple people, including myself, who was out in the field, and the police health director trying to get to dispatch to ensure that she has a secondary person working with her as well. So it was a very chaotic scene. It's a lot of moving components in this. And this happens almost every time you have a hot scene. You're going to have a lot of moving parts and moving components, and people go to work, they go to their specialty. So people they did what they had to do to make sure that everyone was safe that day.
The federal standards that have been in place now when purchasing a new radio system is that P25 standard that I'm giving you in the handout that I talked about. And basically what that means is the ability to have interoperability between multiple agencies with the radio system. It's the standards that have been accepted on the federal level, and you can't buy a radio system used for public service like we get ready to do without it being P25 equipped.
Two things, based on an email that we received tonight, town manager was made aware in 2012 that the radio system potentially be a problem.
No, sir.
We're going.
Wait a minute,
I have a question, ask a question.
I just did.
No, you made a mistake.
Did you not send an email to the town manager to discuss the radio system in 2012? We got it here in our pack.
Let's read it.
Okay.
No. We're not going to do that.
Why?
We're going to let Lieutenant Hale finish his presentation.
Well, I'm asking him a question.
That question has been asked and answered, sir.
No, it
Lieutenant
hasn't.
Hale, will you please continue?
No, it hasn't. All right.
Lieutenant Hale has the floor.
The next question is this. We have let ourselves get in a position that we're now accepting used parts to try to sustain a town of 11,000 people that need to have an upscaled, updated radio system that was not planned for when it should be. Is that a good question?
It wasn't put in a capital outlay budget to be able to replace it at the end of support. And we do have to utilize the fact that using parts from another municipality, but they are out there to help us keep ours up and running should we need them. That's the emphasis we have to do if we need them.
I'm gonna make this one